It's never the sexiest position to talk about, but what's the offensive line situation going into 2025?
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, welcome back into Locked On Bama HSA Radio Network's Luke Robinson. That's me. Bama Online's Jimmy Stein. That's him. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel, and I'll tell you about FanDuel in just a bit. Thank you, everydayers, for being everydayers, and thank you, newbies, for being here today, and thank you all for making us your first listen. So, Jimmy, your main man over at BOL came out with a good story on the offensive line for next year. And, you know, when you put it all down on paper or on the internet like he did, I feel a lot better about it. Do you?
Oh, well, yeah. I think looking at, there's first of all, I mean, I always like to start with positives, of course. You have 3 all-star candidates. I mean, not everybody's got that. I mean, sure, some people have 3 returning starters or even 4, even 5. Alabama's got 3 all-star candidates. Proctor Brailsford is one of the nation's top returning centers. I think a healthy Jaeden Roberts, which we never saw last year. Jaeden Roberts was hurt from the get-go the entire season. But I think we know a 5th year Jaeden Roberts, finally healthy, is an all-star type candidate. Kadyn Proctor certainly is a left tackle. He's one of my picks for a breakout star on this football team. His developmental track has actually been very good. Kadyn Proctor, another one who played hurt the entire season last year, had shoulder issue that popped up before the first game, but that's been rectified. Kadyn Proctor is going to have a breakout season. That's 3 all-star players. That leaves 2 spots, and I think we all know that Wilkin Formby is a strong favorite at right tackle. The coaches do like Formby and believe in him. There's some optimism about Formby going forward, but it's fair if you want to still say he's a question mark based on what happened in 2024. That's fair. I'm just saying I personally have quite a bit of confidence there. I know the coaches do. Left guard is an open position, but you bring in Cam Dewberry from Texas A&M, who was serving as basically their 6th guy. Geno Vandermark was Alabama's 6th guy last year. He's back. So you got those 2 to battle it out. My thing, Luke, after, reading Charlie Potter's piece on BOL, my thing is, okay, that's 7 guys or 6 guys that we should feel either great or really good about or fine about. But what could really make a difference for this group is someone else making a charge that either ends up with one of those starting spots or pushes them to be even better players because it's difficult to win the job with that guy competing for it. And here's three guys who could. Big Mike Carroll, the freshman, 5-star that I compare to Tyler Booker skill set wise. I think he could be an immediate starter at left guard or right tackle. And I think 2 players who have been in the program who may be ready to take that big next step are Olas Alanin and Casey Poe. I would watch those 2 this spring as guys who could potentially make a move. But overall, 3 all-star candidates and ample quality candidates for the other 2 spots. So I do feel good. I think the offensive line will be an asset for this team, not a liability, an asset.
Let me throw another name in the ring. This is a big name, and it's weird that I'm saying ring because I'm not sure this man can fit a ring on his finger. Arkel Anugwum. Am I saying that right?
I know you're saying Arkel right. Arkel is correct.
Okay.
I think it is Anugwum. I believe that's correct. Anugwum.
I heard this the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I heard this, and I'm not trying to speak out of school and tell too much information, but I pulled this is a standard ruler out of my drawer. I heard, and again, it was from a very good source. I won't say exactly who, but somebody at the program every day, that this man, Arkel
Anugwum,
has Arkel Anugwum has 11-inch hands. Now, Jimmy, I'm going to show you, like, that is, I'm just over 6-inch hands. So he's just about double the size of my hand. And what that means is he can palm a globe. And that is, look, so
The literal globe.
maybe he's not very good right now. Maybe he's not. I don't know. I think he started some for Ball State, right? He was at Ball
State.
But if you have an 11-inch hand, we're going to find something for you. I mean, he could catch a football between his two fingers, Spock style. It's ridiculous.
That wouldn't be good for him.
There's part of me that can't believe it, but there's part of me that can, because I have shaken some of these like big basketball player or big football players' hands before, and it is ridiculous. And it was funny because on the Bama Online message board, apparently somebody saw me at that event, and they had maybe never seen me before, and they were like, "Man, Luke is a giant." Okay, I'm 6'5", I'm about 255. I'm not a giant.
You're excited.
If you saw me in Alabama's locker room, you'd think, well, there's a manager, a very old manager, but a manager nonetheless. If you saw Arkel Anugwam, you would say, run for your life.
I think they would see you and say, there's Eddie Conyers' father. It's really funny if you happen to know who Eddie Conyers is.
I didn't know Neelan Hibbett had a much uglier cousin. He's older and probably adopted. But if you saw Arkel Anugwam in the locker room, you'd say, run for your life. He's about to smash us with his 11-inch hands and his gigantic Johnsonville bratwurst sausage fingers.
He is a massive. I mean, some of these guys do have the great, measurables, and they seem even bigger than that. I say that all the time about Jaeden Roberts, who his measurables don't make him one of the biggest offensive linemen in school history, not even anywhere close. But anytime I see Jaeden Roberts, I'm like, that is one of the most massive humans on this earth. Jaeden just looks so huge, and I think Arkel is the same way. Look, Arkel has significant upside. I think if Alabama fans, the way y'all should look at Arkel, or certainly the way I do, is I'll be shocked if he's a factor this fall. Shocked. But do you rule it out? No, because this kid's clay is as good as anyone in that room. He has major Sunday upside. He could be that good. He just probably needs more work than anyone in the room.
Jimmy,
but he could be great.
When he picks his nose, he unintentionally gives himself a proctology exam with those gigantic hands. Can you imagine? You know how, like, at a country club, if you go buy a golf glove, or at Walmart or wherever, golf world or whatever, all the golf clubs, no matter the size, are the same price. Do you imagine how much money they lose on selling him a golf glove? That's got to be the world's biggest golf glove. How did he even play? What does he play golf with? Just a log with a trash can on the end of it?
I do hope that he's a second team tackle, and I believe he will be. And if he's second team and gets to play an end of game, see, I know we all kind of blow off the end of game garbage time situation. That's actually a time of growth for guys like him. I hope he gets to play a lot in those end of game situations. And then next spring, we're talking about him being one of the big surprises on the team. That would be fantastic. And he definitely has that level of upside. We probably haven't hyped him up enough, but the hype's not for 2025. The hype is, in the future. Think of him as a freshman project. But hey, they're all projects. For as much as some people hate that word, some people hear that word and they immediately get turned off by it. They're all projects. Who shows up out of high school ready to be a great SEC football player? Some, very few. The rest of them are projects to one degree or another.
Depends on how big your hands are. Look, Arkel Anugwam doesn't shoot a bird. He shoots you a flock. Right. I mean, I can't get over this. Like, you kept trying to give us actual news, and I can't get over these.
It is amazing. I mean, 11-inch hands. I've never even. I mean, I'm sure that exists. I've just never like really heard of it.
I never have. And if it's true, I mean, I think we just he can be time travel. He could literally slap you back to the 1970s. But all right, FanDuel. When the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started. And there's no better place to get in on it than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game. So even if you missed the opening tip or want to bet on a fourth quarter comeback, you can stay in the action. And if you're looking for a bigger payout, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay. I love using FanDuel Live so much because it keeps every moment of the game exciting for me. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get 150 smacks and bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. God, I wish I could have muted you while I was doing that little locked on thing. I mean, it sounded like you snorted up half Columbia.
That's how sick I was a week ago. I was sick a week ago, and I'm fine now, but I'm still dealing with the after effects of last week's sickness.
I still can't get over these 11-inch hands, man. Like, how does he even dial a phone? Can you imagine him trying to dial a rotary? He needs a wand to dial a rotary phone. But regardless, you came up with a good question on BOL. And look, we're using these three teams because these are three teams that Alabama plays, but I think you could throw some other teams into this mix. I mean, if you wanted to put Florida in there, whatever. But who's going to be tougher for Bama this coming year? Is it going to be Tennessee at home? Is it with the returning starting quarterback? A team that's beaten Alabama 2 of the last 3 years. I know both of them have been in Knoxville, but 2 of the last 3 years. Is it going to be LSU, who's returning arguably the best quarterback in the country? They're returning Anderson, the wide receiver that led them last year, who transferred from Alabama. They're bringing in Nick Anderson from Oklahoma. They're bringing in Berrien Brown from Kentucky.
They get Harold Perkins back.
They get Harold Perkins back. They get Harold Perkins back. I would say Harold Perkins, it feels like after the initial awesomeness wore off, he may have dipped a little, but I know he was hurt last year. So
he's doing that circuit that I talk about all the time, the circuit where you start out overrated and then you move all the way to underrated.
Yeah.
I think Perkins is now underrated. I mean, I agree. He's not going to be a top 5 pick in the draft. He's probably not going to be the SEC Defensive Player of the Year. He's still a heck of a football player. He's good.
But his underratedness is only there because he was overrated to begin with.
Correct.
Like we had an overcorrect, just like everything else. We had an overcorrection. So I'm not saying he's not good. He's great.
Another funny thing to me is remember how dominant he was during that time. Why are we always messing with things when they don't need to be messed? He was really, really a dominant player as a freshman, and then LSU's like, "This is what we're doing. We're moving him." Why? It seemed to be working out pretty well with what you were doing with him the first time. But anyway.
All right. So which of or South Carolina on the road, with a place that I know in 2010 they beat Alabama, but I mean really it's not, the venue's great and it seems intimidating, but I mean the win-loss record there tells you it's not super effective. So but they do have Lenora Sellers coming back. They got some other dudes. That Dylan Stewart is like the dude of all dudes. That Nick Harbor is.
He could be SEC defensive. Dylan Stewart could be SEC Defensive Player of the Year next year. He's a strong candidate for that.
So which one of those 3 teams do you think is the toughest for Alabama on this upcoming schedule?
I want to say South Carolina because it's on the road. But I don't believe myself that South Carolina is going to be better than LSU or Tennessee. I actually think they would be third in that group. And that's sort of the genesis of why I asked the question and why I'm trying to get some more feedback, because I haven't made up my mind. I got a long way to go before I make real official predictions for what's going to happen next fall. But I do think South Carolina is a little overrated based on Lenore Sellers' play late in the year, playing well, but I'm not convinced of him like others are. I need to see more before I'm fully driving that train. But South Carolina lost so much on defense, particularly that defensive line, which was as good as anybody in the SEC last year. They do return Dylan Stewart. I think they lost most of the other guys, and they lost most of what was behind them, in the linebackers and DB group. I think LSU is dangerous. I think now they've gone to, Josh Pate said this the other day on a show, kind of stuck out to me. He's like, if you look at LSU, you want to say that they're underachieving because we're comparing them to LSU at their best. It's like any other program that has done what LSU has done on the field the last 3 or 4 years, you'd be going, wow, they're good. But it's LSU, and we're like, no, that's disappointing. They've been pretty good. They might even be better with an older Nussmeier. They got very aggressive in the portal this offseason. Alabama does get them at home, and they get Tennessee at home. That South Carolina game's on the road. I think all three will be really difficult. But of those 3 teams, I think LSU will be the best because I think they have the most good players of those 3 teams and a quarterback I believe in slightly more than I believe in Nico Iamaleava and Lenore Sellers, who I'm high on both of those guys, but I'm more of a believer in Nuss at this point.
With you, I would go LSU 1, South Carolina 2, Tennessee 3. And again, it's very tight. And when you rank things like this, the immediate reaction is, oh, you think Tennessee's going to be easy? No, I don't think any of them are going to be easy. I think they're all going to be very difficult.
How do you factor in that home road thing that we got to play South Carolina there in Columbia?
That's the tiebreaker for me. Now, the one thing I should maybe revisit is we do play South Kakalaki after they have 2 other very difficult games. I know Oklahoma at home is one of them. I think they're at LSU. I think they go at LSU, Oklahoma at home, Bama at home. That is a rancid 3-game stretch for them.
I don't think they'll beat LSU. Maybe, and I haven't even really looked at the schedule in that vein. I mean, we're talking about who's better, South Carolina or LSU. Heck, they play, and it's in Baton Rouge. I mean, that almost sort of settles it, right? I mean, won't you be surprised and impressed if Shane Beamer in South Carolina rolls into Baton Rouge and wins?
I'd be shocked.
Yeah.
So, shocked, that tells you.
That's why I'm putting LSU 1 on the list, even though that South Carolina game's on the road. I go LSU, Tennessee, then South Carolina. But I'm with you. I think all 3 of these games are really, really difficult games for Alabama or anyone to win.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, look, you could pick out a lot of games that seem like traps for Alabama. I mean, obviously, going to ESPN had a good article today thinking about, okay, what games at the very first year everybody excited about. And the great thing is a lot to choose from. Texas at Ohio State, Bama, Florida State, LSU, Clemson, Notre Dame, Miami. A lot of games to be potentially very excited about in that first weekend. And, that's what one of them said. Look, of all the things I could do, what I would probably do is go to Bama, Florida State, and then hopefully drive down for the Notre Dame, Miami game. That would be the thing to do. That may be the most fun. And I think he's right because Miami, Notre Dame, I mean, if Miami were to lose that at home, you would have to think, wow, okay, Mario Cristobal probably going to catch a little heat. All right, let's talk a little Iron Bowl of basketball, which, look, I don't really like calling it that all too terribly much either, because it's really not what it is. But I saw that Philip Marshall really hates it when people call him that. So therefore, I will continue to call it that.
It's kind of catchy. It's kind of catchy. I mean, I don't like it, but at the same time, I'm like, I sort of like that there's a name to it, and then you can go further with it. Iron Bowl of golf, Iron Bowl of softball. Mm-hmm. So I sort of like it, actually. I mean, I don't love it, but hey, until someone comes up with a better name, I'm going with this one.
A couple of things to think about, and you and I guess, will go ahead and do our predictions on this game. Maybe we'll do something Saturday morning um, before the game. So let's save it just in case we do, because I know I got to do a crossover with Zach later. But let's save predictions just in case. But first of all, the last 3 Iron Bowls of basketball in Coleman Coliseum, pretty unbelievable. 81-77 Auburn wins in 2022. And maybe the best play, though, was when J.D. Davison just absolutely hammered a dunk over Walker Kessler late in that game. Then Alabama wins in 2023, 90-85. That game went into overtime. And I'm pretty sure Auburn had an 18-point lead in the second half, maybe 17-point lead.
I think you're right.
In 2024, it was 79-75 Alabama. So been a lot of very, very close games over the last several years. It's going to be cinema again. I don't think there's any doubt about it.
It's hard to imagine it not being close. I mean, the first thing I would say about any prediction is it's going to be close. I mean, I will be stunned if either team wins handily. I think it's going to be tight. I won't be surprised if the game is literally undecided with a minute left. And just gripping, suspenseful, tense basketball. ESPN, would love it. Game day is going to be there. Just adding to the immense hype. It's going to be stormy. I don't know if it's stormy during the game, but be careful on the weather on the way home. It's supposed to be a stormy day in Alabama, a stormy evening. Boy, I think it's going to be tight. What's interesting from an X's and O's standpoint to me, Luke, is just the conflicting styles. They do it 2 different ways. Auburn wants this game in the 70s, probably, although they're comfortable scoring. They got dudes. They're comfortable scoring. Auburn's not one of these slow it down or they'll lose a trap meet. They're not that at all. But they probably want the game in the 70s. Alabama wants it in the 90s.
Let me give you some stats from this because these are very interesting to me. And I said this yesterday. It was funny. I call in. I rarely do it anymore, but I had to call into an Auburn radio show yesterday because a guy called in that didn't really seem to know much of what he was talking about. He's like, Alabama's not very good. I don't know why we're even worried about them. As long as the officials don't rob us, we'll win that game. And I called in and said, I'm so happy he's preemptively blaming the officials. That's a new one, but that's good. But he just kept talking about how Auburn's so much a better program, et cetera. And look, I will say this, first of all, I respect Auburn's basketball program a ton. I really do. I respect what Bruce Pearl has done. You had to get over the initial, hey, he'll never be able to do it down there. And now that he's proven that he can do it down there, I think you need to respect it. You may not respect Bruce Pearl for some other stuff way back when, so be it. But I think that's kind of silly to harbor ill will towards that, just like I think it's silly for Auburn fans to not like Nate Oates because of something with the Brandon Miller situation they don't understand. Now, but overall, first of all, the Alabama and Auburn aren't old money, but they're new money. They're not blue blood, they're new money. And but they're pretty good at this new money. Like the last 5 years, like super rich, hit it big in the tech industry, new money. But here's some overall statistics from, since the dawn of Alabama and Auburn basketball that I find interesting. Total wins, Alabama with 1,811, Auburn with 1,496. Conference championships, Auburn with 8, Bama with 19. NCAA tournament appearances, Alabama 25, Auburn 13. Now, let me also put this caveat out there. I have not taken any lessons from Carl Ravitch. I have not completely double-checked this, but these look right to me. So I'm going to keep going with them. Sweet 16 appearances, Alabama 10, Auburn with 5. Elite Eights both have 2. Final Fours both have 1. NCAA tournament record, Bama is 29-25. Auburn is 19-13. It's a dang good record for only going 13 times for Auburn to be 6 games above 500. AP preseason poll appearances, Bama 22, Auburn 9. AP postseason tournament poll appearances, 18-10 in favor of Alabama. And I found that one low. I was like, wow, that's all for Alabama? Total weeks in AP poll, how about this number? 362 for Bama, 192 for Auburn, and the head-to-head record is 101-67. Again, somebody may say I'm pulling this from a tweet, and they may say I missed something, but those numbers sound pretty right to me. And what it tells me, number one, is I can't stand it when people clump Alabama with Auburn as saying, oh, well, these are just the new kids on the block. I agree, we're both like new rich money, but Alabama's been on the block for a while. We just didn't get to move into like the ultra gated neighborhood until recently. And Auburn went from the outhouse to essentially the gated neighborhood.
100%. Alabama's the more historically good basketball program. 100%. That's undebatable. I'd be shocked if any Auburn fan wants to debate historically. Now, Bruce Pearl era versus Nate Oates era is where it gets really interesting and fun. And again, me and Luke have said it time and time again on the show that we're not rooting for Auburn in any form or fashion
ever.
But the fact that Alabama and Auburn are both this good at the same time makes it a little fun. And Saturday's game is the symbol of that. It's the biggest game in college basketball. It's the biggest game in college basketball this year, this season.
Yeah.
I believe I read, Luke, can't confirm it, but I believe I read, this is the only 1 versus 2 matchup in SEC history that has never happened. So this is historically great, and shout out to Bruce Pearl's Auburn program. They're great, but historically Alabama's been better over time. Who's better now? I don't know. Luke cringes every time I say it, but this might be round 1 of 4.
I don't want that. Don't do that to me. Stop.
I'm not speaking into existence. I'm just saying, that could happen.
All right, that's going to do it for today's podcast. We'll be back tomorrow with more. Until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll tide.